There's some laws that went into effect in Florida on July the 1st. A lot of people have heard that the concealed carry law that used to exist that required you to have a special permit has been done away with. That was House Bill 543. So now you can carry a concealed weapon without going through the course and getting a permit and them doing a background check and all that. Some people are okay with this, others are not okay with this. We had previously done a video about how me personally, although it doesn't really matter, I went through the course, I took the test, I had a concealed carry permit for years before this law went into effect. And I thought it was a good idea to maybe screen people, make sure they have some level of familiarity with firearms before you allow them to carry it around with them into a restaurant or a place, other places, public places that allow for that. I thought it might be a good idea to have some kind of idea of who's doing that and whether they have significant background issues or not, especially given the fact that you can buy guns from places or get guns from places and then conceal them without having to go through any kind of background search at the retailer. Some people disagree with that. I get that. I guess we'll just agree to disagree on that issue. But there are other issues, other laws that went into effect on July 1st that are, I think, equally political, equally hot button type issues. Some of them deal with transgender issues. The don't say gay thing got extended from 3rd grade to 8th grade because, I guess there's some politicians that believe you shouldn't talk about sexual orientation at all with anybody in any elementary school. You shouldn't mention the fact that there is sexual orientation differences, I suspect. So that law went into effect. Anywhere there's hot button issues that somebody can score political points, especially if the person in power is trying to get his or her base behind them, they're going to just pass laws that fire up that base, right? So if you're a Republican, you're going to pass laws that fire up the base on guns, abortion, sexual orientation. You're going to try to do things that make your base like you more. And that's just what's happening because our governor happens to be running for president, right? So what else does he go after? Of course, immigrants, right? So one of the things that went into effect on July 1st is that hospitals now basically have to report whether they treat somebody that's an illegal immigrant. And in the past, obviously, that was not something that was required by hospitals. And that same provision, I think it's State Bill 1718, it provides $12 million to ship those illegal immigrants out of here. So the state's trying to get an idea of who they are, where they are, and then there's money now being set aside to ship those illegal immigrants out of the state. What does that do? Well, if you're a Republican, that probably fires you up, right? So the intended goal of all of these is to try to get your base fired up so that they can count on you in future elections. I'm not sure that's the best reason to pass laws, but it is what's going on in this state right now. There's also a transgender bathroom ban. There's a thing that says Chinese property owners, people that from China, are Chinese citizens, they can't buy properties except in certain circumstances, basically. Anyway, you should be aware that these laws are going into effect and that they're largely going into effect right now because of political reasons, not because these are necessarily problems that are at issue in this state. When is the last time you had an issue with a transgender bathroom problem, right? Or had an issue with your kid, somebody in your kid's school mentioning sexual orientation in any way, right? What, besides friends calling you, off-color names perhaps, but when was the last time you had these issues that actually came up? Probably never, probably rarely. I'm sure I'll get some people that comment on this. Oh yeah, my aunt's sister's cousin had this issue that came up or whatever. But I mean, come on, in real life, this is just political play. But it affects real people. That's the problem, is that these political moves are going to affect real people's lives and their health care potentially if they're an illegal immigrant. And the idea that any state in this country is going to ship somebody to a different place because they're that didn't fill out the right paperwork when they got here seems a little extreme. But it fires up some people. So those people will be happy, and those people will gladly vote for, I guess, Governor DeSantis for president. That won't be me, but I'm sure there's some people out there that will. Anyway, we feel like it's part of our responsibility to keep you educated on what laws are being passed, even though we focus on handling personal injury and wrongful death cases. But it's important for you to be aware as a citizen that sometimes laws are being passed, whether it be a Democrat governor or a Republican governor, for purely political reasons. And there's really not any other reasonable basis for that. I'm sure you can find isolated occurrences where some of these things are happening, but is this where we really need our government in this state concentrating? Don't think so in most of these situations. Anyway, feel free to comment. If you have any questions about any personal injury case, you can find us on the web at zarzaurlaw.com, or you can call us at 855-HIRE-JOE.